Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen.
No.
It's been a hot minute, but we're back. Life has been busy, and the baseball season is obviously not busy right now. Well, for the college aspect, but
Yeah.
um, we are back. Host JD Wonder alongside Nick Hendricks and Mikey Love. Um, yeah. So just
Great
kind of
start.
for
If you guys
those of you
haven't,
joining us, yeah,
yeah.
we Mikey might have to leave mid podcast to take care of some business. Don't know if he would like to disclose
No, do
business,
Have
but
not
another
disclose.
business call,
There you go.
a
potentially.
business call.
Yeah, we're
This
Um,
texting currently. It's a
business
you
Flintstone
guys,
call
gummy.
with
It's a
the clue.
Flintstone gummy call, potentially.
Flintstone
We'll see.
gummies, respect. Might as well get that out of the way then, really. So checking out our sponsors though, you can check out Shank It Golf and Dubby. Use code Cronyo Media at checkout for 10 to 15% off your order, depending on where you go. But again, great stuff there. Shank It Golf, again, great golf apparel, hilarious stuff. Just to kind of, bring some personality into your golf game.
Which is always
Um,
necessary.
it is necessary. I feel like you kind of need it out there, honestly, especially if you suck as much as I do. Like, you got to have something.
Oh yeah. If you suck at golf as much as probably all three of us, then you need some personality with your beers and your swings. So
Yeah, for sure.
yeah.
But that and then W as well, Grady pre-workout company. Get you the energy you need to get a nice pump in and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so diving into it. Obviously, the season's over, yada yada yada. We kind of wanted to talk today about draft picks, all that kind of stuff, and what's kind of going down. So Nick, you have that kind of pulled up on who was
Yeah.
picked.
So going through out of this draft, 113 high school players were drafted, which I believe if it was like last year, I think this was actually more high school players were taken in this draft than anything, because I know Perfect Game was pumping out a lot of stuff, as well as the Under Armour showcases were going good, and all the college tournament, like the MLB sponsored tournaments, were really pumping out some good talent this year. From our college perspective side, number one overall pick. I think all of us, after his performance in his final game pitching as a Tiger, as well as LSU winning the national title, Paul Skeens was taken number one by the Pittsburgh Pirates, which honestly, I think for them was a perfect pick. I'll kind of round out the top 10 real quick.
Well, you need to know that Dylan Cruz was supposed to be the number one, but because
Correct.
Cruz didn't want to go to the freaking Pirates, they went elsewhere.
I mean, you do have Brian Reynolds as a young outfielder, but you can convert him to
right. But they're looking to trade him anyways. At least they were at the beginning of the year.
I think the Pirates honestly would turn out better with a pitching prospect, because I think that's one of the biggest things that they really need. Bat wise, they seem to be okay, but they just don't have they started off the year hot. And this was the thing. How many people were actually believing that? Because you saw it before the All-Star break even happened, that the Pirates went way downhill, way too fast.
But they lost O'Neal Cruz.
That doesn't help either.
Which he's supposed to come back sometime here soon. Paul's supposed to start his first pitching assignment in the minor leagues, like here this week or next week. Plus, like, if you think about it, like, it's just probably just a hot and cold kind of thing. Like every
100%.
team goes through it.
Yeah.
Like college, fucking high school, professional, it doesn't really matter. Like, you're gonna go cold at some point.
Oh yeah. It's just a matter of how are you able to pull out of it. And so we'll see if Pittsburgh can do that. Going through the next 2 through 10, we got Dylan Cruz from LSU. He was drafted number 2 to the Washington Nationals. First high schooler taken off the board. I think everybody was thinking where it was going to go. Max Clark, he went to the Tigers as third overall pick. Wyatt Langford out of Florida goes to the Texas Rangers for the fourth overall pick. I think for Texas, that's a huge pickup. Walker Jenkins from South Brunswick High School in North Carolina, he went to the Twins on pick number 5. Jacob Wilson from Grand Canyon University, he went to the A's, pick 6. Rhett Lauder, the big number 1 arm from Wake Forest, he went to the Cincinnati Reds. That's at 7. Blake Mitchell from Cincinnati High School in Texas, he went to the Royals at 8. Chase Doolander from Tennessee, another big arm. He went to the Colorado Rockies. That should help them out as well.
But he's not going. I thought he was going to Wake Forest.
That let me
No, that's Chase Burns.
Yes, that's Burns.
Oh, my bad.
I mean, that was a big relief arm for Tennessee.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was either looking there or TCU. So,
which honestly, both schools would have been good for him. And then
I mean, with Wake Forest, just real quick, Wake Forest's pitching, like their clinic or whatever they have now.
The pitching lab.
I can see, the pitching lab. Yeah, that's definitely a big draw. But yeah, keep going.
And then number 10 to round it out, Noble Meyer from I think this is pronounced Jesuit High School or Jesuit. Wow.
Jesuit. It's Jesuit.
Is it just? We have
Jesuit?
4 different pronunciations.
It's Jesuit.
It's the big high school in Oregon. So Noble Meyer, if we pronounce your high school name wrong, we're not
is it? How do you spell it?
It's Jesuit.
Jesuit.
Yeah, it's Jesuit.
It's Jesuit.
Nick, you're a Catholic, right?
I am a Catholic.
That's Jesuit refers to Catholicism.
Not anymore.
I guess not.
Dang.
But he went number 10 to the Marlins, another pitcher. Pitchers were heavy in this first kind of overall pick. It was honestly kind of split, but like the pitchers that went were very heavy. Any other notable arms? Enrique Bradfield Jr. from Vanderbilt, or not notable arms, but players. He went to the Orioles at the 17th pick. This, I personally think if he can move through the minors quick, kind of like what some of their young talent had, like Gunnar Henderson, Jackson Holliday's doing really well. Adley Rutschman moved through pretty quick when he got drafted. And this was what I've been saying this on the other podcasts that I do as well. The Orioles have built a team for success out of the farm, and I think that's what's coming through. So a young guy like Bradfield, as quick as he is, the way that he can swing the bat, I personally think will be outstanding in that program if they can keep him healthy and he stays.
Yeah, not just that, but also having like Cedric Mullins too in the outfield. They'll have a lockdown outfield.
That will be insane. Other big picks, Kyle Teal, who we talked about a lot this season from Virginia, the catcher, the captain.
A bomb the other day.
He did.
His minor league assignment.
And he picked it right back up as soon as he got in the minor leagues. He went to Boston at 14. Tommy Troy, the big bat from Stanford at second base. He went to the Diamondbacks at 12. Another good player there. Kind of moving down the list here, seeing a lot more guys.
Did the catcher from Florida get drafted?
The catcher from Florida. I am not seeing a Florida catcher at the moment.
No, he's going to do finance. Didn't you listen?
Yeah.
I know. I listened 800
the
times.
entire time that
drafted.
Every time he comes up, this guy's going into finance.
Shut up. I'm going to put you in a finance box.
Do it.
Big pick for the hometown boys out of Nebraska. Bryce Matthews ends up going to the Houston Astros, going back to his hometown of Houston at the 28th pick. And then other Nebraska
Max
Anderson. He got drafted in.
And Mike Boovie got drafted too.
Yes, Mike Boovie from
University of Nebraska,
Omaha.
2 tanks.
Yeah, he did hit 2 already, didn't he?
Didn't he? Well,
for the Brewers.
Yep.
Oh yeah, he's in there. Yeah.
So the Nebraska boys actually made waves. There was a lot more draft picks within this class from Nebraska. I believe the whole infield went and got drafted. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong on that as well. Grant Taylor from LSU. He went to the White Sox in the 2nd round. I'm trying to look for other guys that we talked about.
Was that a knockout pick or no?
It might have been. I'm not entirely sure on that one. Because I got through day 1 and then day 2 was a little slow. Shut up, Mike. If I missed something,
What are you giggling about?
No, you didn't get my freaking joke. I said, is that a knockout pick? Because Tim Anderson got knocked out.
Oh, yeah. There we go.
I was not on the same page with that at all.
No, I missed that one. And then Mike Boovie, like we talked about from Nebraska Omaha, he went 54. And then Jake Geloff from Virginia, he went to the Dodgers at 60. We talked about him a lot this year. We talked about a lot of really good talent this year, and I think a lot of really good talent was taken to teams that they'll go to, and especially within the top 5. Ty Floyd from LSU, he was another really big arm for the Tigers. He went to the Reds at 38, which I think that'll be a good pickup for them. Now the real question, I think, is going to be who do we see out of the top 5 kind of make the biggest waves first. And we'll kind of break it down by like top 5, and then we'll go through like the rest of the 6 through 10.
Well, you'll probably see Skeens first.
Mm-hmm.
I would guess Skeens then Cruz. Even though Skeens isn't pitched yet in the majors or minors, like you can't keep that arm down there for long. And Cruz is already off to a hot start. Like he already has a grand slam, as well as he homered in his first game in the minors. So, and then I think it'll be a while before you even see Max Clark come anywhere close.
I would agree with the Max Clark pick. I think you can't say overrated, because anytime you say that a player is completely overrated, they find a way to hit a bomb in the at bat or a double, find a way to get a big hit, whatever. I think there was a lot of hype around this kid, he was well deserved. Going through all the select ball and the private ball that he did. I think one of the biggest picks out of this top 5 draft class might have to be Wyatt Langford, just specifically for his defense and just the way that he played ball at Florida State for 4 straight years. I mean, Florida. Yeah, sorry. To me, he impressed me. College World Series, he impressed me. That entire Florida bat lineup impressed me. But Wyatt Langford, I think, could possibly make some big waves. But like you said, Dylan Cruz, as hot as he started, I would see him getting pulled up, or starting to move through somewhat quick. He might get held up as soon as you kind of get him into AAA.
I think he will, because like realistically, position players get held up a lot more than pitchers do. Because like pitchers, you just need to be able to work through, your games that you have and not get shelled.
Yeah.
Whereas as position players, like you need to be able to prove that you can do it consistently.
Mm-hmm. Well,
like if you hit 100, like if you hit a sub 250, like you're not going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
But like if you have like even probably a sub 3 ERA, like you're probably going to get called.
That is impressive. And I think the one thing that you have to look at with Skeens is, one, as hard as he throws, you're starting to see that kind of become more common within college baseball and in professional baseball, like where a lot of guys are throwing 100. But the thing that kind of sets Skeens out is he can throw 100 with control, and he's got a lot of junk that he can throw. That slurve works really well. His slider is nice, tight rotation. His fastball is heavy. It's got a high spin rate. The one thing that I think he needs to be able to do is, I believe he does throw a changeup. He needs to be able to locate that, because a lot of guys are seeing, just wicked sliders in this league. And unless you hang it, you're really not going to get hit. But I think personally,
But the problem is that given his ability to whip it, like, you had to worry about his arm.
That too, yeah.
Like, is he just the next DeGrom where it's going to take him a couple years to come into his own, and then once he finally does, like, it's just Tommy John after Tommy John?
That is an interesting take on that, which should have been thought of.
Because they're very similar. I think DeGrom throws harder.
I would say DeGrom.
I think DeGrom has probably a little bit more movement. But Skeens is still only 20-something, and DeGrom's like middle 30s, I think.
Yeah.
So you got to think about when the arm just starts to give.
Yeah.
Because it will.
As much whip as that man can get through the zone, he is definitely looking at, you need to keep him as healthy as possible, get him his days of rest. And unless you make a postseason run, that's when you can kind of start maybe I wouldn't say overusing him, but you can use him on shorter rest. But at the same time, as young as he is, I would still, if you can, give him that amount of rest. But also, he does have to prove himself coming to the minor leagues. Now, throw it down to the next pitcher that got drafted at number 7, Rhett Lauder. I think that he actually could move through Cincinnati fairly quick, and they just had Michael Lorenzen throw a no-no last night.
Yeah, but he came from the Tigers last week.
Mm-hmm. Which was a great pickup for the Reds, because the Reds, if anything, to move forward in where they are in the wild card standings, they needed an extra arm, and I think they got it. With Lauder, as his stuff is just electric, and so is Skeens, don't get me wrong. But to me, Rhett Lauder's stuff is just, it's there. He's competitive. Both of them are. It'll be interesting to see which one starts making a bigger wave first and gets moved up.
It'll be Skeens because he's got all the popularity coming out of college. Like Red just has the sheer, you know, background of like him pitching well in Wake or at Wake during the season, like the streak that what that Wake team went on. But at the end of the day, he's always going to be overshadowed by the fact that Paul Skeens, didn't he outpitch him? Because
I
they
was
faced each other,
just
I
about
thought,
that.
didn't they?
I believe no.
I
Wake
thought it was
Forest.
game two. They went against each other. I thought.
Yeah,
I mean, not obviously they didn't hit it, like,
no. I thought it
but
was. I thought it was game one. It was best on best. It was game one when Wake Forest was able to pull
because
off the upset. Was
LSU
it?
had to throw what's his name to get to the championship.
Oh,
I thought.
let me look it up here. I'm looking at Wake Forest's games here
Yeah, actually, you might have been right. It might have been best on
because
best. I don't remember.
we called that. That should have been, if you were looking for a championship caliber game. To me, a best on best. Rhett Lauder and when Paul Skeens, when it comes down to it. Why is my laptop being so damn slow? Can I just get to LSU's website, please? LSU baseball website. We're looking here. I don't know why my computer's being so slow. There we go.
LSU D's nuts, boy.
So we'll do schedule. Go all the way down to Wake Forest. Game 1 box score. And you don't want to give me the box score, you dirty sucker.
Whoa.
Recap. Can I not?
Please figure it out.
I'm working on it, guys. I apologize. This has become a.
Get the fuck out of here.
I'm working on it. I'm gonna find it as soon as you do because I don't know why this ain't working. Box score. Can I get this? All right. So for Wake Forest, it was Seth Kiner that threw in that first game.
Pitcher for LSU.
For
It
LSU.
wasn't Skeens.
It was not Skeens. It was Javen Coleman.
That was game 2 that they went off then.
Yeah. So, but looking at the stats for Lauder this season, Lauder's total ERA for the year was a 1.87 for a season ERA. With at strikeout numbers, he had 143. For Skeens, we'll look at the roster here, or we'll just pull up stats plus. We'll throw up team stats. For Skeens, he had a 1.69 ERA. So the ERAs were pretty. Skeens had a better ERA. They were pretty dang similar or pretty close. Skeens on strikeouts this year, he had 209. He had a 13-2 record as a win-loss. And then when it came down to, why can't I find the record for? There it is. 15-0 was Rhett Lauder.
In the regular season?
Yes, because he has 2 games that are not counted because it was postseason. So he went a 15-0 regular season.
Nice.
Or at least he had 2 games with a no decision.
Bye.
So
it still holds true.
I would say that. I do think Rhett Lauder should make some waves. Josh, your opinion on said matter?
He will.
I mean, personally, I think that Rhett would have a better chance like going through this season because I don't think that he pitched both as many pitches and as many innings and didn't have to rely as heavily on his stuff as Paul Skeens did, because Paul Skeens throughout the season, as we saw, was obviously the biggest pitcher they had, but one of the only pitchers that they had. All of a sudden, the rest of their lineup decided to obviously you didn't have to try that hard.
Lineup, really. It was
that's what I'm saying. Like their bullpen finally came in. That's what I'm trying to say is like their bullpen finally came in and made it work. But yeah, just looking at it, I feel like Rhett would have like you said, like with the arm health and all that kind of stuff. I feel like he has the capability to pitch more innings. I feel like he has the movement on his stuff because Paul Skeens does have a really fast fastball, but he has was a slider and a curveball. That's kind of
He's
it.
got a slider and a slurve.
Versus like Rhett, who has an arsenal of pitches and he can spot it up. It seems like a lot better because obviously the higher you play, the
Yeah.
easier it is to hit velo for the
Not necessarily,
Guys.
because you could be what's the dude from the Rays?
Oh, why are we blanking? It's not
He's
Cabrera,
got
is it?
no,
Alcantara.
it's a pitcher. No, it's a white
No.
dude. He's got 3 pitches. It's a fastball, a changeup, and I think it's a slider. And like he really only uses 2. Can't think of his freaking name right now. It starts with F, I think.
Oh, I'm gonna have to look it up,
It's
aren't
not
I?
Fulton
Fairbanks?
Hewitt. No, maybe.
Yeah, it's
Fairbanks?
Fairbanks,
He's
I
got
believe.
it's fastball. I think it's fastball, changeup, slider, and he only throws his changeup to lefties. Like the chance of him throwing it is like sub 0.1.
I
Well,
understand that, but it's like the fact that if you look at it, especially back in that game when it was best on best, Rat was more so like he relied on his defense, but they got weak contact off of him.
Right, but like you can like you don't need an arsenal to be able to do well in the majors.
Right,
Fleming,
but what I'm
Fleming might
saying
be.
though is
Oh,
Josh Fleming.
like just the fact that he does have a big league fastball for Skeens. He does have a big league fastball, but it's the fact
yeah,
that
but that doesn't
his
set him
pitch
apart.
count goes up. If he's pitching at that frequency
Mhm.
for a major league season, that's a lot different than a college season.
Right, but I don't think he will though. Like I don't think he'll pitch that much in the majors.
Well, and also you do have to look at this. Most of the time when you get to the majors, how many major league pitchers are actually still continuing to get to 6, 7 inning games? Most of the time, a 6 is probably your cap unless you're going with a PG, no, or you're way under pitch count. But most of the time, by you get to the 6th inning, major league pitchers are looking at chasing 90 pitches. When you go to college ball, your pitch count's lower by that point because if you have overpowering stuff in college, you might have off days or some team is just going to hit you and you're spotting up like crazy. But most of the time you're getting to that 7th inning and you're still not even sniffing 100 pitches. And if you are, somebody's putting competitive bats against you or you're struggling, but you're still winning that game and then you'll get taken out.
Yeah, but the difference is that in college, like you'll play what, probably 50, 60
About
games
56 games.
max.
Yeah.
And at the major league, you've got 162. Like Skeens there's no way Skeens throws
That's what I'm saying.
that
Just
many in
longevity
like that
wise.
short amount of time.
Yeah.
Like
And
it'll be
that's why
different because he'll have like 20 some odd games to go over the span of like 6 months.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I said too, like that's why Rat would have the best chance this season because it's just the fact that Skeens has been used so much at the beginning of this season. I just think that it'd be smartest to like keep him down and go through it that way and teach him that hey, like I understand he's like a competitor and all that kind of stuff, but yeah, I
I
just
don't
think
think you'll
Brett
see any of
Lauder's.
them this year.
Oh no,
I was
yeah, nobody's
yeah, I
gonna
was
get
gonna say.
nobody's gonna do the CWS to World Series like it happened that one year.
There could be like on the back end, like at late first round, early second of like a reliever potentially that was just lights out. But like you won't see Skeens or Cruz, Max
No,
Clark. Like
yeah.
you will not see any of those
Verlander.
top 10 in the up here at all.
Which, granted, I'm going to say this too. I don't think you see them until maybe the second half after the All-Star break next year because it depends on who it could be. But
We'll see.
Do you think they get a spring training invite though?
Yes, they
they'll
will. That's
get
where
invites, yeah.
that's where it'll be interesting. Like, I mean, it doesn't matter. Like, there's been instances where people are just lights out and they still don't go to the majors. But you also got to think like people could get hurt. Like the top 3 dudes, those are not good organizations.
Mm-mm.
So it's not like they're. But then you also got to think like you don't want to rush it either.
Mm-hmm. And like I said, I think that was the one thing that the Orioles have done incredibly well is once they've gotten their draft picks, they've done all their testing, like they've gone through the minors. And Adley is probably one of the biggest advocates of that, in my opinion. When he was in the minors, he was still slugging and he was doing his consistency. And Mikey said this earlier, hitters have to be more consistent than pitchers do, because you can still have a 3 ERA and get lit up a couple of times, but because you did this consistently, you'll get pulled up. Your ERA is only a 3. Now with a hitter, like Mikey was saying, in case Josh, I don't know if you heard it or missed it, but like we'll rephrase, if you're hitting below like a 250, your odds of getting moved down are probably going to be greater. If you're hitting above that and just at under a sub 300, you might get pulled up faster. I think one of the biggest advocates for that now in the minors, Ivan Melendez has been hitting tanks and he's been moving up very, very, very quickly. Jake Myers moved up through the Astros very quickly. He was consistent. Bryce Matthews could do the same thing from Nebraska. I think because of the way that the Astros have built their team around hitting, I think he could start seeing a lot more innings by next year in AAA. So it's all a point of consistency and who can keep that as.
Is Bryce a shortstop or second baseman?
Shortstop.
Shortstop.
They're not gonna. If he's gonna have to make a position change.
Yeah,
because they've got Pena, and he this is his second year, I think, in the majors.
I figure that honestly, he could play like middle infield or third base, honestly. But
yeah, but you got Bregman at third. Your best bet is Tuve retires. And I don't know who they have in the minors.
I don't know either that or Altuve stops performing,
or he just stops shooting.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
That'll never happen.
That's true.
But I think when you really look at it, a lot of the high school players, I think, will take their time to get up through, and I think that's an obvious given, which I also think it's kind of an obvious of that they should take that time, because you don't want to move them up too quick and then have them get burnt out or have them get hurt. And then there goes your draft pick. There goes your lineup. Now, the real question is, because I don't have this stat pulled up, how many of these guys are going to actually say, you know what, I'm going to take my college offer and work towards that and play more baseball?
Probably none of them. If you're taking in the top 15, there's like that money is way too. Then again, this was before NIL, so I actually don't know.
And that throws another factor into it. Can you start? Because this is the one real big thing that you kind of have to look at is in the minors, guys don't get paid a whole hell of a lot. Like single A guys are grinding for pennies on the dollar. Guys that are now in college, you can get an NIL deal. And depending on how good you are, you can start raking in some pretty serious coin. Biggest advocate for that would be Bryce Young from Alabama. He hadn't even stepped on the field yet, and he was signing multi-million-dollar contracts for an NIL deal. But again, that's also the name of the school. And when you're the quarterback there's got to be success. Saban's your coach, whatever. With baseball, there's kind of a lot more room for error on how good can you actually be coming into a full new team, new coaching systems, brand new competition. And now, I'm sure everybody's heard of it. Teams are moving, and Mikey's all-time favorite conference is going to get disbanded.
See you later, Stinky.
There you go.
So, that conference.
In case anybody's wondering, Mikey's excited. The Pac-12 is getting pretty much shit on by its own teams.
Yeah, shouldn't have been.
Oh, but here's the thing, though. With that one, that's going to be crazy, though, just in the fact that all these teams, we don't really think about it until you like see it on a map. But like moving to like Big 12, Big 10, ACC. Some of them are joining the ACC.
No, that got shot down. Stanford and Cal got shot down.
Okay, well then, but still, you look at how spread out it is. Mm-hmm. You got to think about like all the travel that's going to have to happen.
Yeah, you must have seen the comment from the Missouri football coach.
Like it's just bizarre.
He said it's good. Like it's fine for football players. Like you don't like it'll be good for football programs because it's money.
Well, but it's every Saturday too.
He said, what about the other sports? The baseballs, the softballs, the other thing where you'll get back in at 4 a.m. and then have to go to class the very next day. And he was like, mental health is like the number one thing for these college athletes. And if you take sleep from them, like their mental health just goes downhill. He goes, and these parents are entrusting us with the care of their kids. Mm-hmm. He's like, did we ask any of these athletes if we could move?
Well, not just
'Cause
that, but too, but
they're moving
Yeah.
for money. Like that's the
yeah,
whole
no,
reason they're changing
100%.
conferences.
Yes. That, but like you also got to think about too, this is also going to take away the school aspect. Because you know
Oh,
how
big
hard
time.
it is to study on the road. You know how hard it is to then, because you're not in class. Like,
Yeah.
I understand now the growth of Zoom, it should be a little bit easier to do that. But at the same time, it's still, you're spending an entire block of months away from the actual school part of things. And that's going to be the hardest part to be able to, stay eligible even with grades and stuff like that. And I mean, at the end of the
Should
day, they're,
probably change it to an athletic student.
well, I don't,
Yeah,
if
athlete
we do that,
student.
then if we do that, you might as well just make it into like a organization, as in like a football, like football, make it like the XFL or something like that. That's ridiculous because there's no way.
So here's where the 2 cents comes in. We've talked about this before on the podcast. Everybody has heard this kind of get rattled around somewhere in the stratosphere. Super conferences start. This is a hypothetical.
No,
Super
they're
conference.
coming.
They are coming, but this is a hypothetical for within the next, give it a little bit. You now are going to need to do, especially with these Pac-12 schools doing what they do, the Mountain West disbands, if that happens, again, hypotheticals here. You now have to do sides of the country, and this is where your big schools go. Because,
Well,
the Big Ten is going to have to probably end up doing a Big Ten East, Big Ten West. I would say they might have to do a Big 12 Central or a Big 10 Central. You got to
they're
split
gonna
it up
move to
division-wise.
divisions is the theory, because they're sitting at like 14 teams right now, and that doesn't include Oregon or Washington, or even
USC and UCLA. They don't come till 2025.
like they're gonna like it's essentially a 20-team conference.
Yeah. The only teams
Like
that are
you're gonna have to move to divisions at that point. And someone was like, "We'll just have divisions and have one division be the Pac-12 and one division be the Big Ten, and just play the championship game in the Rose Bowl."
then what's no? Okay, now that you say that, which we're a college baseball podcast, but no, you didn't piss me off. Now I'm rattling my brain because I'm gonna have to talk about this in
He's
another hour.
rattled.
I'm gonna get him his pacifier.
He got me. No, he's got me stumped because he said play in the Rose Bowl. So now I'm thinking if you do that, the Rose Bowl becomes your play-in game for the college football playoff. The Orange
you
Bowl
also got to think they're
becomes you're
expanding
playing.
that
Yes, they are expanding that.
in 2 years.
Yep. I believe it's 2025 they're expanding. But now think of it this way. So if you have the super conference, which the expansion is going to be what? 12 teams, right? 12-team expansion.
I believe it's what it is. 12 or yeah, that
12
sounds
or
right.
8. So here's now where you could lie, and this could also be a kind of a thing for college baseball too. But regionals is very
College baseball doesn't need to. They already
Yeah.
have the 64-team bracket.
yeah. So throw it back to college football here because now I'm on the hypothetical and fuck it. You can go personally with the bowl games like they're already doing, but if you now break it down to super conference, your conference winner gets moved in. Also, that now eliminates teams, but that also says that you almost have to do a conference tournament with the top 4 seeds and maybe a wild card because you get the top 2 team divisions, which honestly could be your wild card plan for that. So it's such a
I
big
don't know how they're
effed up situation. The only 4 teams that are actually getting to play a full schedule this year of a new conference, BYU, Cincinnati, UCF, and then Houston get to play a Big 12 because that schedule already got added to college football. That will also be coming to baseball.
Texas is in the SEC now, right?
And
As
Oklahoma
of this year?
is. No, Texas is still here in the Big 12. That doesn't go till 2024. Texas and Oklahoma moving to the SEC. This will now we've talked about it before. This is going to potentially for baseball, this could be a okay move. Football, on the other hand,
they're going to get romped in football.
Yeah. Basketball, Texas might be able to hold.
Not even going to be
Oklahoma,
funny.
maybe not. But
the SEC's not crazy at basketball, though. Minus Kentucky.
You can throw Alabama in that mix now. Tennessee,
they shoot people.
Auburn.
Details.
Yeah. Well, they're Arkansas.
Provide guns.
So, but now
Probably
you have
Kentucky?
Probably don't include that one either.
What'd you say?
Kentucky?
I already said them.
Oh,
Continue.
Okay.
Mikey is
I'm
just
gonna have to go through the back end. But so now
Mhm.
you are looking at, with all these conferences moving, UCLA, USC goes to the Big Ten. That's going to be a lot of travel for them. That's also probably now going to get ran by USC and UCLA for baseball.
If you think about it, though, realistically, like those Pac-12 teams, they already travel. Like that West Coast, the way they're spaced out,
They do
is
travel
like
a lot.
it's enough.
but like,
It's like
but this is saying like this is
You're
changing time
You're going
zones.
corner to corner.
no, yeah. It'd be different.
For 2
See,
hours.
It does not make sense for Cal and Stanford to join the ACC. That makes no sense at all.
Zero.
It makes sense for them to join like the Big 12 maybe or the Big 10. Like those are the only, or even the Mountain West. Like it does not make sense for them to join the ACC or the SEC. Like those are completely other side of the country.
Yeah.
Now, the athletes, they're gonna travel. Like even the ACC is a big travel thing. Like with football, it's different. Like they're fine. They travel one time a week, maybe twice. Baseball though, that's going to be entirely different, especially for conference play.
And you'll have midweek games too. So you'd have to go
Well,
there.
you just
back.
might see the midweek games be more local teams. Like you
They
might see
usually
Nebraska
are
just play like
anyways.
Creighton.
They usually do, or UNO, or like
Right, but like
right around the
in
area.
the past, we've seen teams like an LSU go and play Vanderbilt in the midweek.
Yeah.
Like there's always those super random competitive midweek games, and we just might see them disappear. I wonder now though if we'll see more of these tournaments where you get 4 or 5 teams together throughout the season. Then instead of just in the beginning, maybe they host a couple now.
I think you'll see that in the beginning still, because if
they'll be in the beginning, yeah, for sure.
but I'm saying like
if
in
it
the
makes
middle
sense
of
to
the
do it
season,
later.
I don't think they would, because they want to be competitive in conference play. So if they're trying to play like a robin tournament, like
yeah, maybe it's something like that where I mean, I don't know. Normally they do 3-game series. I don't know how they're going to manage to do. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see.
Here could be a caveat to this.
No caveats.
No caveat.
Well, or hypothetical, I should say.
No hypotheticals. Only facts.
Could we,
Nick? It's unfactual.
Yes. Could we potentially see tournaments become almost mini conference tournaments to get teams from like USC and UCLA? They now have to go to the Big Ten. They have to play Maryland. They've got to play Rutgers. They've got to play all the way on the East Coast. Could we potentially see tournaments now, like the starters, go to almost kind of mini conference plays to get the East Coast teams and the West Coast teams chances to play even games? Nope.
No.
All right.
Just kick them out of the conference. See you later.
Honestly. Disband the schools.
For sure, dude.
I don't even like. I'm just thinking, like, in all honesty, this is just like they got to just divide it like into, if they're doing like all this for money, yeah. They need to divide it like pro teams. So just have
They won't.
a north, south, and then east, west. However, I'm looking at it this way, so east, west.
It's just going to be a travel thing. Figure out the travel thing for the students so that you're not riding on a yellow school bus.
Josh,
well, they won't. They won't do that. School bus to fly around,
bro. They're gonna have to invest in something.
Tough, yeah,
like you can't just give kids charter buses.
But also,
trips.
The NCAA, if you're listening, you freaking fun haters, you guys can fork out enough cash. If you guys have signed,
they're fine.
Yeah,
it's not even them. It's
going
to be on the university. And then it's like the football teams are going to be fine. Yeah. You have to wonder about the baseball, the basketball.
What I'm saying
the
is
swimming,
like, well, then
tennises.
Do you see then the season get cut down?
No,
no,
they won't. That's too much revenue to be lost.
I don't think you. I personally don't think you have to. If you can keep the tournaments the way they are, so throw out Nick's hypothetical, because that was just a question to figure that out. Throw the tournaments still in.
No.
Now you can host more tournaments on that West Coast side for some of these for conference holds, And now you're going to get a lot more invites because teams are joining the Big 12, teams are joining the Big 10. You can now move a lot of those tournaments over, and you can almost start the season earlier.
Here, this would be interesting. What if students need to learn, like that's the biggest thing, right? They go there to learn, and then it's like an athletic thing second. What if you start to see many pop-up campuses? Because then students can go to a city, stay there, be involved in an athletic event for weeks, but then still be able to learn like in a classroom environment. That's beneficial for the school because then you can get more people to go into your school. It's a money generator all around.
Saying like a learning center for the athletes?
Yeah, kind of like a
you know how here in town Bellevue has or Metro has campuses all around the city.
Yeah.
Yes.
You might just see that with Stanford having a mini university in Washington, or you'll still have the prestigious.
I thought you were saying
brand.
If it was, because you got to think about in that case, then you there for classes and all this kind of stuff. I was thinking you had the campus, whatever college you're at, you're visiting, and then off to the side somewhere, something like that, you had a mini Big Ten campus where it offers a learning center and all that kind of stuff.
No, because you got to think too.
You got to keep the curriculums the same.
Yeah, so
which everybody should be similar, but your school curriculum has to be
every school is different.
Exactly. You're mostly learning the same thing.
Think about it. With all these, especially with COVID now being done and everybody liking the work from home style, all of these companies are going to want to get out of their building leases. So there's going to be a lot of these vacant buildings around here.
Damn.
And if schools just have these little pop-up universities, if Stanford has a school in Washington or in the middle of bumfuck nowhere, Nevada.
But what? So how are they going to teach and stuff there? How are they going to get professors on campus?
You have your professors either be on campus or they go to these. You have staff that is hired by said university to work in this centralized location, or your students go there. This is where they Zoom their class from to make sure that they study and they're not in a hotel room. That's
why I was saying why? But
realistically,
so you're saying in a central spot, as in so then they just be close to going to other places.
Yeah. So basically, where the hotel.
But then are you also hiring on staff that's going to work with just the athletes then?
Correct. For that university.
But that's what I'm saying is then how then it's splitting the curriculum even more to then be okay, this is what this is learning, this is how the professor's teaching it, all this kind of stuff.
Because
you just Zoom it. You just make a spot.
Okay, but that's what I was saying is you have so if
this got so complicated so fast.
I'm trying to think about it
Josh, let me put it to you this way. Pool A plays Pool D, plays Pool C, plays Pool D.
God dang it.
Shut up. Realistically, as a student, you're not going to watch a Zoom class on the bus. You're not going to watch a Zoom class in your hotel room with your buddies. That's just not going to happen.
No.
But if you make these areas where they have to go to this school like normal, and then you get everybody together, this is how these West Coast teams can play, the Nebraskas, the Iowas, the Illinois is all in one. You just have this tournament and you have them sit there for a week and a half. They do their baseball, they do their athletics, and then they come back. It's less wear and tear on the body and travel.
That's why I was saying money. If you travel, so say you travel to,
it's not that hard to understand, bud.
This is what I'm saying though, as I think it'd be more beneficial if you traveled there and you had a separate little thing. It's exactly like you're saying, you have computers, you have access to anything that you need on the academic side of things. You have that there. And then you could, but it's labeled as whatever the conference is there, and so then it keeps the kids that are on that team then just in that area without intermingling within other colleges while they're there. So they just go there for the time being while they're in that spot, and then they travel to a new place.
But you would have to still delegate out university centralized learning
Then
zones.
you just have like staff just like checking in on them and stuff. If you're talking about Zoom meetings and stuff like that, they just have access to technology and all this kind of stuff. And then you just have like
I'm looking at Mikey's
campus
face.
and something. And so like what I'm trying to say is you just have like campus security, maybe like a librarian or something that's like taking care of like check in and out and stuff like that.
No.
I don't know what else you want. Like I don't see it being like Stanford, but it's like right next to some
That's
other
why you do
school.
You could okay, so here would be the name for it. I got it. You call it each building that is bought is called your conference learning center. So now you have your Big 12, your Big 10, your ACC, whatever. So hold on.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Give me a second. Then you delegate out floors for the colleges that come from far
You're gonna
away.
make like a 20-story building?
No, you don't have to.
Oh, I got class on the 12th floor. See you guys later.
I would jump from that 12th floor.
So Mikey came up with a great idea. If anybody has
Yeah,
not,
I did.
if anybody
Big
has,
12, Big 10. Give me the fucking money for it.
if you want the simplified version of this, for anybody who's still through this mumbo jumbo and ACC conference tournament type conversation,
It's not ACC.
create a learning center. What?
Nothing. Continue.
Create a learning center or like a campus within the state that is designed for students to go to be able to take their classes instead of having to take it in a hotel room. You can learn the same curriculum that is from your university by Zoom or professors that stay there. There we go. That was simple. I don't know why it was so freaking hard for everybody. Are we good?
No, I'll never be good.
Okay. Well, with that, I think we've had a hell of a conversation, boys.
I don't want to talk anymore.
Might blurt something else out.
Shut up. Fucking bastard. You dirty whore. I cut that out too.
All right. So with that, boys, are we good? Are we done for the night?
End the shit.
I think we
All
need to. Take
Well,
her away.
it's been fun. It's been real. Has not been real fun. Again, we will probably be releasing stuff within like 2 weeks, kind of spreading it out since we're in our off-season phase again. Hoping to have more interviews here soon. Please leave a comment if you would like a specific interview. I'm hoping to get some of our guys that we've interviewed before to get back on here. We have a few good ones that we kind of want back and to have some more good discussion with. But yeah, I hope to have some new guys as well. Again, you can visit us on Twitter and TikTok at Homaha Pod. If you're already here at the No Place Like Homaha podcast on YouTube, please like and subscribe. Do the same as well on all podcasting platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all that fun stuff. Again, shout out Cronio Media and helping us reach all of our platforms. Again, anything else that we need, gentlemen? Yeah, we shouted out sponsors earlier, but again, one more time, Shank It Golf and Dubby. Use code, all one word, Cronio Media for 10 to 15% off. Not Flintstone gummies because and we also don't
Stop the recording.
We also don't have No Place Like Homaha after 20, so.
It's probably a good thing.
No. All right.
Stop it right now.
Fine.